Hey guys, Baddies Midwest episode 11, and stay till the end of the video so that you can see my Baddies rankings and grades for this week. Also, if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube because TikTok will be going January 19th. So the episode starts back with Ivory and Lex fighting about this room and Natalie changing the names on the room or whatever. But they end up going 5 rounds. So to me, the first round goes to Lex. They both was hitting each other, but I feel like Lex was just making a little bit better connections than Ivory. And then once they got on the floor, Ivory tried to like step on Lex's face. She didn't connect, but then she was saying she stomped on her face. Like, no, you didn't. And from after round 1, Ivory was just so mad. Like, she was on 10, so angry. And Lex was still smiling and laughing and chilling. So to me, that right there is the proof that you lost. Because you're the one who's so mad about this. And you want to keep going again and again and again. And you're the one with the black eye. Now, I saw a lot of people saying they didn't understand why Ivory was saying that Lex was picking a fight with her because Ivory was the one who called the fade out. But y'all got to pay attention to the tea that comes out as the show airs. Remember, I told y'all last week that Ivory said they already had spent the night in this house and in these rooms. They were reenacting the scene as if they were entering the house for the first time. So basically, Lex went for the BS. She could have simply just not went for the BS. Like, Natalie came in switching the rooms trying to be funny. You could have simply not went for it because you know good and well that Ivory slept in that room by herself last night and you slept in the room with Summer. So what was the point of you really trying to sit there and go in her room and lay on the bed and all of that? You wanted to fight. And you wanted to feed into Natalie's BS so that you and her could fight again. So in a sense, I do feel like Ivory was right. Like, Big Lex was just waiting for a new reason for them to fight again. So Ivory's going to the girls and she's like, oh, she didn't do nothing. My eye was already black after she went and got this ice pack that she's holding on her eye for the rest of the episode damn near. And it's like, girl, you keep saying, oh, she didn't do nothing. My eye was already black. Your eye was already black from her the first time. But basically, Ivory was like, bring her back downstairs. So now they went from upstairs in the bedroom to the living room where all the other girls are. And that's where they're going to have the rest of the rounds. Okay, so out of the 5 rounds, I basically said that I felt like Lex won 3 and then Ivory won 2, or you could either say Ivory won 1 and that 1 was a tie. This round 2 was that round that I'm like debatable if it was a tie or if I'm going to give it to Ivory. I did see her connect twice and they looked pretty strong. But just in general, her head be down and she be swinging all wild. It's just like, girl. Round 3 goes to Lex. Mind you, Ahna is in the back talking about, oh, Ivory, you making her up. You making her up. Like, no, she's not. She has her head down, swinging wildly, and is missing half of her swings. And you could tell that Lex has peeped that about her from them fighting so many times. She said it in her confessional, like, Ivory be swinging with her head down. I got my head up, chest out, throwing them bitches. She can't fuck with me. Like, I don't think you're going to beat her too many more times, Ivory, unless you just throw your weight around. Now, round 4 goes to Lex. Ivory did get her on the couch, but it was literally for like 1 second because they fell on everybody else, so it immediately got broken up after that. But until Ivory got Lex down, Lex was hitting Ivory all in her shit. So you see the couch done fell on Tinkerbella and Emma and Natalie. Tinkerbella was talking about, oh my God, my foot. They had to get it together. So at this point, one of the security guards took Ivory upstairs and basically told her, like, you need to calm down. So Ivory is mad, going off in her room. Tinkerbella's up there trying to tell her to calm down. She's telling Tinkerbella and the security guards, I'm not going to be quiet unless y'all let me go downstairs and fight her again. So she wants her round 5. So then we see Lex downstairs talking about, oh, y'all changed the names. And Ahna was like, yeah, we changed JAZMYN name because it was a joke. We already told y'all it was a joke. It's not that serious. And Lex was like, it's not a joke because it actually did get serious. Like, that's what got me and her fighting right now. But like I said, Lex, stop acting like you're mad because you know what's really going on and you decided to play into this. If you didn't want to fight Ivory, you didn't have to because it's not like y'all actually just moved into the house. But it's also very clear that Ahna doesn't like Lex. She's been clocking her tea all season, like just looking to correct anything she says. So Lex is telling Ahna, your mouth is too big for your effing size. Ahna is popping it. She's like, I don't give a F. She started calling her a dumb bee and everything else. And Lex didn't do nothing because I feel like she know that they probably wouldn't let her fight Ahna, which is the BS. But you don't want to fight who probably would stand up to defend Ahna, which is Tasiki. But anyway, while we got Lex and Ahna arguing back here, Diamond comes back downstairs and done took her wig off and put her mouth guard in. And she's like, Pretty P, come on. You wanted your rounds. I'm about to give you your rounds. So Pretty P was excited. It didn't take her no time to get ready. She immediately got up. Diamond really can't fight. And I always felt like she wasn't the best fighter. But this really proved it. Like, I don't think she has hands. Like, y'all said she had hands. I don't think so. I don't think Diamond can fight at all. But Pretty P definitely got that overall. Now, I want to know why Ahna was up so much, jumping in the middle of fights, jumping into fights. Same shit she was doing last season, but you don't want to fight yourself. Like, her dog was all over the place. At one point, Tasiki was like, girl, get your dog. Ahna, get your dog and sit down. Because Tasiki don't want to have to jump in for you. So overall, I think Pretty P and Diamond went 3 rounds. That last round, Pretty P really got Diamond good. Tasiki was in the back talking about eat, because y'all know she don't like Diamond. And then at the end of their second round, Diamond had tried to kick Pretty P, but it didn't land because the security was like in between them. So Natalie comes and she's like, Ivory wants one more round. What do you want to do? Lex said, I'm not ducking no smoke. So Ivory comes back downstairs and they have round 5, which is the round that I definitely would say Ivory got. So I guess she got mad enough to do what she needed to do. But overall, out of the 5 rounds, Lex still got you, girl. So Natalie was like, that's it, we're done. Ivory tried to get to Lex again and have a round 6. The security was not letting it happen. So Natalie started asking the newbies, how was the bus ride? They basically said they got to know each other a little bit better. And she was like, okay, well, we're here in a new city. We're in Chicago. And I think it's time that we give out another Baddies chain. But before we talk about that, I just wanted to say, I know there was a lot going on outside on the front yard when we left Cleveland, as far as us not knowing if Emma or Jasmine were going to go home, because that's who was up for elimination. So Natalie says, I decided I'm not going to send anybody home. Emma, we know that there's more to you and there's a lot going on with your life. So we shouldn't just throw you to the side because you're going through something. We should be there for you and like show you sisterhood, basically. She didn't really say nothing about why they chose to keep Jasmine, but I feel like we know that they keeping Jasmine probably for the whole season because it was literally in exchange for Cash Doll to do the Midwest auditions. But you see Biggie face because Biggie was the one who voted for Jasmine to go. And then you see Big Lex, and she was basically saying Natalie being too nice. How is nobody going home when half of these girls really not standing on business? So when Natalie announced that she was giving out another chain, Rolly was basically saying how Natalie is giving out these chains way too fast, and she had to put in a lot of work and a lot of seasons to get a chain. Now, I will say, on one hand, Rolly, Baddies chains weren't even a thing when you started on Baddies. They didn't become a thing until what? Baddies East or Baddies Caribbean. You've been on since South. So, of course, you had to do 2 or 3 seasons without getting a chain because it wasn't even a thing. But on the other hand, I will say that she's right about Natalie giving the chains away too fast. And the people that she is giving them away to don't deserve it. Like Jaden, why did she get it? She basically just got it based off of her like celebrity or influencer status. At the end of the day, it's way too fast. But if you was going to give it to somebody this fast, it should have been somebody who actually made a large impact on the show. Big Lex, Summer, somebody like that. And Natalie says, I feel like one of my other OGs should give out a chain. Scotty's been here for a long time, and she's the sweet, nice girl, so she should give the chain out. So Scotty is basically like, oh, I'm going to nominate 2 people, and y'all can help me decide because I don't know exactly who I want to give it to. I want to nominate Big Lex and Jasmine. So Diamond is immediately in her confessionals like, Jazz was literally just on the chopping block and was one of the girls that we was considering eliminating because she's so boring. So how is she now up for a chain? Clearly, Scotty just likes this girl and favors her, so she wants to give her a chain. You're not actually giving her a chain because you feel like she's doing anything. Like, Scotty, if you was a real bitch, you would have just gave it to Big Lex because you actually nominated her because you know she's been doing what she's supposed to do and making an impact that would do something for the show. So someone was like, hell no, how is she up, blah, blah, blah. Like, a lot of people was kind of saying or looking like they didn't agree with Jasmine even being a nomination for the chain. So Summer said, if you get that chain, I'm snatching it off your neck on my mama. And Jasmine was like, oh, that's what you said about Tink. Why are you even bringing that up? I feel like she low-key wanted Tink to get on her side in that moment or something. Like, girl. So Jasmine goes up to Scotty and she's like, thank you for the recommendation, and gives her a hug. But she's like, I'm a real one, so I'm going to basically give my recommendation to somebody else. So that means that you don't deserve the chain. So yeah, give it to somebody else. But if you was really a real one, instead of you bringing up somebody else's name, you would have just said it should go to Lex. Because you know that she has been standing on business. So why even throw somebody else into the equation? But she decides to say Pretty P should get the chain. She's been overlooked. And I just want to shout her out and say that she should get the recommendation basically over herself. Now, I will say Pretty P do deserve it as well. And if they would have nominated Big Lex and Pretty P, I wouldn't have been mad at all. Because they both deserve it. So Rolly immediately went and checked that and was like, no, we're not doing that. Because at the end of the day, Jasmine, you're not an OG. So how would you be in any position to recommend or nominate anybody for a chain? So it's like, I get your point, but you're not the one who's able to say that. And then also, like she said, you so-called deserve the chain. So why are you trying to give it to somebody else? That basically means, like I said, you don't deserve it. Or either you just don't really want it. So that means the chain should just go to Lex, bottom line. But after all of that, Scotty basically says, well, I'm the one who's deciding who gets the chain. And I feel like what Jasmine just did was some real girl stuff because she was willing to give the chain to Paula. So I'm going to give the chain to Jasmine. So Lex was looking like, girl, what? And Summer tried to square up with Jasmine. Like, girl, I told you if you got that chain, I wanted to fight because you don't deserve it. Ivory going to stand in front of Jasmine bodyguarding her. And I'm like, see, Ivory, you just a hater and you just don't like Summer and Lex. But you know damn well JAZMYN don't deserve it either. Because when y'all was at the bonfire, you was the same one who said, oh, JAZMYN, I like you, but you getting a little bit annoying. We not learning nothing about you. All we learning about is who your friends are, who you dated, who your connections are to, and we want to know about you. You was the one who said that, Ivory. So that means you don't feel like you getting to know her or like she's showing out on this show. So why are you now over here defending her, acting like she deserve a chain over Lex? Because Lex just blacked your eye twice? So Scotty's putting the chain on JAZMYN and Ivory's like, good job, you're a baddie, being fake. And Tinkerbella was in her confessional like, Scotty, blink twice if somebody told you to do that, because why did you give Jazz a chain? Side note, what the hell is this on Natalie's face? So Lex was like, she didn't even embrace the chain. She just tried to give it to somebody else. And Natalie was like, listen, it was Scotty's choice. And you know, she does that whole girls thing. And everybody says, I'm not a girl's girl. But hey, that's Scotty's thing. Natalie said, I'm not no girl's girl. But she was like, JAZMYN, that did show me that you're very giving. And I do like a giving baddie. Okay, whatever. And Scotty was like, at the end of the day, it's not only because she's giving, there's other reasons. And Big Lex was like, okay, so tell us the other reasons. Like, what has she done to deserve a chain? Scotty talking about, oh, she be popping her shit. To who? Summer? Because that's the only person she be going back and forth with. And half the time, it be seeming like y'all more entertained by Summer's comebacks than hers. And Jayla tried to give Jazz her 10s, talking about you always look cute and you always put that shit on. Okay, and what else? This is not America's Next Top Model, bro. So Summer runs up on JAZMYN and she's like, run me that. And the whole time that they tussling, she's going for the chain. And she does end up popping the chain, like the rope on the chain. But what I didn't like was that it looked to me like both Ahna and Scotty was getting way too involved in that fight for me. Like, it almost looked like y'all was jumping in to defend JAZMYN. Don't piss me off. But it does make sense why we're going to get Scotty and Summer fighting later in the season. And I think Ahna and Summer might fight again too. So I could see the narrative that they trying to create around Summer now. I feel like they might try to give her that meatball treatment. Like, oh, you hating on people getting the chain kind of thing. So Summer was like, yeah, I got your chain. Snatchies, where your chain at now? And JAZMYN was like, it don't matter. Zeus don't have to build me up. I came built. So Natalie basically said, this concludes our first house meeting in Chicago. We will be going out tonight, so go ahead and start getting ready. So JAZMYN goes upstairs to try to fix her chain, and a lot of the girls are in her room, as you can see. So JAZMYN was basically saying that she don't care that Summer popped the original rope to her chain because she got a Cuban and she just gonna put the little pendant on that. And then Biggie fake ass came in her room talking about congratulations. I said you're a great performer. Keep popping your shit. I just wanted to get to know you more, but you deserve that. Congratulations. Like, girl, you wanted to vote her out. And you was the odd one out that wanted to vote JAZMYN out because everybody else was saying Emma. And Ahna did say, you know, after tonight and after seeing how Lex handled herself, I do feel like she deserves a chain as well. So once JAZMYN got the Baddies pendant to fit on her Cuban, Tasiki put the chain on her, and they were all like, yeah, Summer's not going to be able to snatch that one because it's too heavy, you know, just bigging her up. So then we see Tinkerbella and Ivory in the room, and Tinkerbella was basically in her confessional saying that Ivory eye was looking crazy. So Ivory was talking to Tinkerbella. She's mad as hell, like I said. She's like, oh, my eye was already black, but this bee gonna stop playing with me. I'll run her round for round for round. So Tinkerbella was like, girl, well, let me get you some sunglasses because we going outside regardless. So she had Ivory trying on all these different shades. And I don't think Ivory was a fan of these. So next we see Lex, Summer, and Diamond upstairs, and then Dolly comes in. And Diamond was a real one for this. She said, I know how you feeling. I went through the same stuff last season, and you definitely deserve that chain over JAZMYN in that moment. Especially because she was willing to give the chain away. And you're literally the one who just went 5 rounds with somebody who already has a Baddies chain, Ivory. And Summer basically said, and if she did want to give the chain to somebody, she should have just gave it to Lex because Lex was already nominated instead of trying to bring up somebody else, which I agreed with and Diamond agreed with. But overall, Lex was all smiles, and she was definitely getting herself together and getting her mood together to go out, while Ivory still seemed very upset. So now we see Natalie, Rolly, and Scotty having a conversation, and they basically just trying to figure out what does Rolly want to do with Slim, because she's clearly still here, but not staying in the house. Also, Scotty was sitting there talking about, oh, we shouldn't have been messy and moved the name tags. I was a part of the Kiki, even though I didn't do it specifically. And Rolly was like, well, don't include me in that at all, because I didn't even come upstairs. You better hope Ivory don't add you to her hit list, Scotty. So Rolly basically says, as far as Slim, I don't want her here, but if the B is going to be here, she's going to have to work for me. I feel like she's been clout chasing off of me and using my name for the last 2 years to keep herself relevant and to try to get back on the show. So if she's going to be here, she's going to have to earn her stay. So Rolly said that she wanted Slim to be her assistant, to pour her drinks and stuff like that. Like I said, to me, it doesn't make sense because why would you want somebody that you hate to be your assistant or even be around you that much? But I guess Rolly being mean to Slim would just make for good TV. I don't know. But Scotty agreed in her confessional saying that it doesn't make sense. It's a horrible role for Slim because Rolly hates her. But while they was all sitting there, she didn't say nothing. Like, if you, Rolly, and Natalie really supposed to be friends and supposed to be the main OGs plus Jayla, y'all should be able to be honest with each other, and you should be able to tell Rolly, I don't think that's a good idea, because why would you want her to assist you? Like, you should be able to say that to her face. So Natalie says, later tonight, we go into this restaurant to have Taco Tuesday with the fans. So apparently they actually gonna eat tonight. But she said, before we go out, Rolly, I think you need to go talk to Slim and let her know what her new role is gonna be. So we get another get ready with me, and Jayla is rubbing off on these girls. Look at all of them looking us directly in the eye. We got Jayla, of course, because she's the originator of this shit. And then now we got Biggie, Jaden, and Scotty, who also did this last week. Please, it's not a photo shoot, guys. Stop looking at me. So then we see Rolly go to have this meetup with Slim. Slim, this makeup that you had is crazy. Like I said, your makeup artist this season hates your guts. But Rolly is clearly not trying to make up with Slim. She told her that she'll never forgive her, and they only have one thing to talk about, which is what she's here to offer her. Slim was trying to apologize, saying how she's deeply sorry about Rolly's son. She basically wants to be Rolly's friend again. At one point in the conversation, Rolly was saying, yeah, that's why I beat your ass 4 times, because you was talking about my son. And Slim corrected her and was like, oh, you actually beat me up 5 times. Like, girl, this some weak shit. This some weak shit, Slim. And I was on one of those lives where you was popping it about Rolly. Popping it bad. But you always freeze up when it's time for y'all to have a conversation, and you basically beg for this girl to be your friend again. And she's sick of you. And I will just say this. To me, if you are less than 50% black, you should not be saying the N-word. The only way you should have that pass is if you have at least one fully black parent. Slim's dad is half black, and Slim's mom is white, which makes Slim 25% black. She should not be saying the N-word, and I get why Rolly would compare her to Gretchen. The only thing that makes it weird with Rolly is that she hangs out with Gretchen. But I guess maybe she had said this about Slim and Gretchen before her and Gretchen got cool. So Slim was talking about, I know I'm hard to deal with, but I'm just trying to get Rolly to understand me. Rolly's not understanding nothing. She basically tells Slim, you could either be my assistant or you could go home. That's the only position we offering you. So Slim was like, oh, I'm going to assist you doing what? And in her confessional, she was like, what does she want me to do? Bring her snacks? But in her face, she was like, okay, so you telling me I have to be your assistant. And Rolly said, yeah, you still would be a baddie, but you're mostly going to be working for me. I'm trying to put a little money in your pockets. And Slim was talking about, so do you think that means there's a little bit of hope between us and our friendship? And Rolly said, no, I would never forgive you and I would never be your friend. Like, I'm literally going to be your boss. Don't even smile at me. And Slim agrees and says that if this is the only way she can come back around, she's just going to have to do what she's going to have to do. Money cannot be this tight. We cannot be this thirsty, desperate, and down bad to want to get back on Zeus and Baddies. And Rolly told her, you will not be going to the club with me. So it's like, that means, are you even going to really be getting shown on the show? Or are you just going to be behind the scenes working with Rolly and working on Rolly? Like, that doesn't make any sense for you. And Rolly leaves Slim sitting at the table and she's smiling, talking about, I'm a pet. I'm a pet. Like, girl, you're a mess and you're weak. So we see all the girls coming outside, getting ready to get on the bus so that they could go to this Taco Tuesday event. So everybody was looking cute. Everybody done got themselves together from that Royal Rumble a little while ago. So once they get on the bus, Ivory is like, I have a serious question. I want to know who moved the name tag. And Natalie was like, we all moved it. And Ivory was like, no, I'm serious. I want to fight whoever moved the name tag. I need that. And Natalie was like, you need what? And earlier when her, Rolly, and Scotty was talking, she was saying how this was like an old school BGC prank. And she can't believe they fell for that. Like, girl, you wish Baddies gave anything close to BGC. And Ivory was like, y'all already knew that me and Lex had tension. I've been telling y'all I don't want to keep fighting. I don't want that image. And I feel like y'all playing with me. So Natalie admitted it. She was like, I moved the name tag. And Ivory was like, okay, but I want to know who really moved it. Like, she thought Natalie was covering for somebody else. No, either you're just dumb and you really thought Natalie didn't do it, or you knew better and you knew once she said she did it that you couldn't do nothing about it. But because if you want to keep your job, you're going to not put your hands on Natalie. The only 2 people who have been able to put their hands on Natalie and come back for full seasons after are Rolly and Scotty. And Scotty was scared when Ivory started bugging out. She was like, I was a part of it, but I did not touch the name tags in her confessional. And I don't know why they included this confessional of Tinkerbella. It honestly just made her look dumb. She was so confused and she was like, I want to know who really switched the rooms, because we know Natalie's always going to take the blame as the EP, but I want to know who actually did it, because when Ivory finds out, she's going to go off. Like, girl, are you slow? It was Natalie. So then Diamond comes out of nowhere and she was like, oh, I just wanted to apologize to Akbar because I kind of started what happened between us. So her and Akbar hugged it out and they had their little moment. Tasiki was on that bus resting her eyes, child. She said, I am sick of this. I am tired. We done filmed Caribbean and Midwest back to back. I need a break. So then they get back to talking about this whole name tag situation, getting sick of it. But then Natalie started playing games and using her semantics. She was like, I do want to take accountability for the OGs. It doesn't matter who moved what. I will always take that. And Ivory was like, well, I know you're not the one who physically moved it. And she tried to say, oh, yeah, I moved JAZMYN's. No, you moved JAZMYN's and you moved Ivory's. Or you moved Big Lex's into Ivory's room. And it's on camera. And they showed it on the show. And Ivory basically said, I know Ahna said she had something directly to do with it, and I'm going to address that with her because I don't feel comfortable with it. Y'all all saying that y'all sisters, so y'all can play with each other like that, but I don't know y'all, so y'all can't play with me like that. So her and Lex start going back and forth a little bit more on the bus. Ivory ends up throwing her drink on the bus, and then she said something about peeing, and we know she has a thing where she will throw pee on people. And Lex was like, if you throw pee, you're going to get fired. Like, basically, you can't do that as Zeus, and they probably already told Ivory that when they brought her over from Now That's TV. So all the girls get to the club and Ahna arrives in a separate vehicle. So when they get in the club, a lot of the fans was there to see them and they was excited. Ivory got on stage talking about, I've been doing this shit and I've been knocking hoes from left to right. I need y'all to say big Ivory, big Ivory. Now this crowd wasn't as loud as the last one. She was kind of forcing it on them, whereas the last crowd that was shouting it, it sounded more natural, like they was doing it on their own. And Lex was like, Ivory's pride is really hurt. She's supposed to be the big dog. And I know she wants to redeem herself. And of course she does, because I would want to fight again and again and again too if I lost. And I got my eye black twice. So then Ivory says, yeah, I just wanted to let all them know that this is my shit. And Natalie was like, hold on, little lady. And she took the mic from her and was like, this is actually my shit. But I love you, Ivory. So she checked Ivory on stage. And what did Ivory do? Hug Natalie and tell her she loves her. So I want to see if Ivory is really going to stand on business with Natalie at this reunion now that she knows everything. Then you see Dolly was standing up here and one of the DJs or something said something about he wanted to shout out Tinkerbella. So Tinkerbella tried to stand right up on the same little square that Dolly was standing on and they both ended up falling over. As you can see, everybody's looking like, oh, and you don't see nobody no more. So Dolly was like, at this point, I just think these girls are trying to hurt me because you know it wasn't no space for you, but you didn't do nothing about it. When you been was supposed to address Tinkerbella because she threw that liquor in your eye when you was trying to fight Tasiki. Why has this not been addressed? So after Tinkerbella and Dolly get themselves together, they do a baddie shot o'clock. And here comes Sydney Star talking about, Natalie. And Natalie was like, oh my God, Sydney Star is back. Like, girl, you've been stalking them since what? Baddie South? Give it up. And Jayla was like, what are you going to do? Are you going to follow us from here or what? Rolly face during that was so funny. Look at her face right here and right here. She was done with Sydney. In her confessional, she was like, Sydney's a blood-sucking leech. She's always going to pop up and demand her spot on Baddies. And from there, we basically get towards the end of the episode. We see the girls partying in the club. We do see that they did get some food. We see Biggie holding his food in her hand. Not sure exactly what it is. And we see JAZMYN talking about how she had a great time tonight and she had her Baddies chain and she was flexing on these girls. So then when they coming out of the club, we see Diamond walking and she kind of like gets kicked over. And she basically said she heard people saying something about Pretty P, which she thought was weird because Pretty P wasn't behind her. And obviously she's not Pretty P. But then she ended up getting karate kicked in the stomach. And we kind of saw Rolly and Akbar asking her if she was good or what happened. And she was kind of just telling them to ignore it or to leave it alone and just get on the bus. But they didn't really get into it and explain exactly what happened. So either they thought that she was Pretty P and it was a case of mistaken identity, or Pretty P got some people in Chicago who wanted to pop Diamond for fighting her. Because I looked it up and Pretty P is from Milwaukee and Chicago and Milwaukee are like an hour and a half apart. So that's kind of like New York City and certain parts of Jersey. So it's like you could have people in Jersey if you're from New York City. So maybe you could have people in Chicago if you're from Milwaukee. You know, I don't know. So maybe we'll get more about that next week because they kind of left it off abruptly and it just didn't really make sense. But next week, episode 12 honestly looks very boring. So expect my review to be on the shorter end. We see Natalie and Tinkerbella on the phone, and Natalie is basically telling her how the girls are going to go to Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon. We know that Nick Cannon is partnered with Zeus after the whole Bad versus Wild fiasco, so that's not really surprising. We also see Natalie, Rolly, Jayla, and Scotty sitting down. And Natalie was talking about how Ivory was kind of stepping up to her. And Rolly was talking about how Slim really wants to be a baddie, and she accepted the assistant position. We also see Pretty P, JAZMYN, Emma, and Lex sitting down. And Lex is saying how she doesn't mind going round after round with Ivory because Pretty P was asking her about it. And she was like, yeah, I don't care. I got energy to go day after day after day. Then we see Ivory, Tinkerbella, Summer, and Diamond sitting down. And Summer was asking Ivory, why would you jump in when I was trying to snatch Jazz chain? And Ivory was like, because you need to leave her alone. And Summer was like, no, tell her to leave me alone. And Ivory was like, she don't even be messing with you. Is you cool? Do you want to fight with your friend Lex? And then we'll see the girls at the Wild 'N Out performance and then go into a club, which kind of looks more like a lounge. And it looked like they was just sitting around listening to R&B music, rocking back and forth and shit. So like I said, it looked like a bunch of conversations and just pretty damn boring. But okay, and then I know some of y'all been really wanting me to bring the rankings back. I did bring back the most and least valuable baddie, but I had a little more time this week, so I was able to also do the baddie grades, but this won't be every week. So for episode 11, I gave Scotty and Slim both a F. I said, Scotty, Jasmine did not deserve that chain, especially in comparison to Big Lex, and why were you getting involved in Jasmine and Summer's fight? And Slim, why are you agreeing to be Rolly's assistant, still begging for the friendship, correcting her that she didn't beat you up 4 times, but actually 5 times? How desperate and broke are you, honestly? Okay, so now we have the D's. So with the D minus, I have Ahna and Biggie. So for Biggie, I said boring and fake. She went from wanting to vote Jasmine out to being in her face after she got the chain. Ahna, why are you jumping in Summer and Jasmine's fight? And you know you don't want to fight Lex, so stop talking so much. Dolly, Emma, Jaden, and Jayla, I have the same notes for all 4 of y'all. Y'all were all very boring this episode, including y'all confessionals, and y'all basically added nothing to the episode for me. And then D+, I have Tasiki and Akbar. Akbar was boring this episode, but she did have the little moment when Diamond apologized to her and they made up or whatever. And Tasiki was boring this episode, but I did keep peeping and hearing how she was telling Ahna to sit down while all those fights were happening, and she kept jumping up and getting involved. Okay, for C+, I have Natalie and Ivory. I said Natalie basically admitted to moving the name tags and Ivory did nothing. She also checked Ivory on stage at the club and Ivory hugged her. But like I said, Natalie was low-key trying to make it seem like she was just taking accountability for the OGs and that she didn't really touch the name tag. Now, as far as Ivory, I said she went 5 rounds with Lex and she lost 3 to 4 of them. Keep your head up. You were so mad after the fight while Lex was chilling. Then you didn't do nothing to Natalie. And lastly, you said Jazz was annoying at the bonfire, but then you defended her getting the chain just to hate on Lex. I gave Tinkerbella a C this episode. I said all she really did this episode was sit up under Ivory and be confused about who touched the name tags in her confessionals. Like, girl, are you slow? It was Natalie. Jasmine, I gave her a C minus. I said she was boring and she knows she didn't deserve the chain, which is why she tried to pass it off to Paula. And if she wasn't nominated for the chain this episode, she would have sat and been quiet the whole episode like she's been for the whole season, and I would have put her at a D or a F. So thanks, Scotty, for giving you some type of storyline this episode. Okay, my B minuses are Diamond the Body and Summer. I said Diamond the Body was right about Lex deserving the chain over Jasmine, but she lost to Paula and she honestly can't fight. She also randomly decided to apologize to Akbar. Summer, somebody needed to snatch Jasmine's chain because she simply didn't earn it, especially not over Summer or Lex. But I do think that Summer's anger about it is rooted in her obsession with Jazz. For the B's, I have Rolly and Paula. I said Rolly was right about what she said to Jasmine regarding the chain, but why do you want Slim to assist you when you hate her? Laughing my ass off. But overall, it was funny to me and it was low-key entertaining. And like I said, I could see how Rolly being mean to Slim would make good TV if that's what she chooses to sign up for. Paula, I said you finally got your rounds with DTB and you ate. This is why Tink and Diamond were jumping her. They can't fight, especially DTB. And with a B+, I have Big Lex. I said Ivory couldn't keep up with you today. I'd say Lex got 3 to 4 of those 5 rounds. But why was you letting Ahna pop into you like that? And why did you even fall for Natalie's BS in the first place? So these 5 were my favorite from this episode. But as you can see, I still didn't grade anybody with an A. And then lastly, I have my most valuable OG/celebrities for this week, which is Rolly and Diamond. And my least valuable OGs and celebrities for this week, which is Scotty and Slim. I also ranked the newbies from most valuable to least valuable for this episode. I put Big Lex at number 1, Paula at number 2, Summer at number 3, Ivory at number 4, Jazz at number 5, and Emma and Dolly tied for number 6. And that is the end of my Baddies Midwest review. I will see y'all next week for episode 12. Make sure that if you're watching this on TikTok, you subscribe to my YouTube because TikTok will be going January 19th. All right, I'll see y'all later. Bye.